Hi, John here with the Blind Android Users podcast, and today I'm going to be doing a video demonstration of the new app by Google that's simply called Reading Mode. So if you go to the Play Store and search for Reading Mode, it should be one of the first search results. Just make sure it's by Google LLC, and you'll be all set. Or you could simply click on the link that's going to be in the description of this video. So after you have installed the app and you open it, this is what you're going to be presented with.
Welcome to Reading Mode. Reading Mode turns long content from apps or websites into a format that's easier to read. Customize the font and spacing, hear content read aloud, choose your preferred reading speed, and more. Continue.
So I hit continue.
Set up a shortcut for Reading Mode. To get started, 1. Go to Settings. 2. Turn on the shortcut. 3. Tap Reading Mode shortcut to choose whether you want to tap a button, use a gesture, or hold volume keys. Then, when you're reading an app or website, you can open Reading Mode with the shortcut. Settings.
So at the bottom there's a button to take you to the settings. I'm going to click that.
Accessibility.
And now, because I'm on a Samsung phone, I'm going to have to first find installed apps.
Installed apps. 2 of 15 apps are in use.
Go to there.
Installed apps.
Then find Reading Mode.
Select to speak here. Selected Reading Mode.
I'm going to
Reading
double tap
Mode.
on that. And now,
Reading Mode shortcut. Reading Mode shortcut off.
shortcuts off, we're going to need to turn it on.
Allow Reading Mode to have full control of your phone.
So this is just the normal warning when turning on any accessibility service that is going to have access to your screen.
Allow.
And of course, because it's going to be reading our screen, we know that, so I'm going to hit allow.
Reading Mode shortcut on.
So
Reading Mode shortcut. Use accessibility gesture.
I'm going to show you your options here. Mine is set to
Reading
the
Mode shortcut.
accessibility gesture.
Checkbox checked. Use accessibility gesture. Swipe up from the bottom of the screen with 3 fingers.
That's what I prefer.
Accessibility button settings.
And if you click on this button to the right of that, you can change the settings to use an accessibility button, on-screen button, rather than a gesture, if that's what you prefer to do. And that's going to be a floating button if you have your navigation style set to use gestures rather than buttons at the bottom of the screen. And the other 2 options are going to be
Checkbox unchecked. Press and hold volume up and down keys for 3 seconds. Checkbox unchecked. Press side and volume up keys.
so if you prefer the physical buttons, you could also set it to one of those shortcuts. And I just wanted to mention that the accessibility gesture is not available in Android 12 for some reason. Google removed it from Android 12 and brought it back in Android 13. So if you're on 13 or if you're on 11 or below, that will be an option for you. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and open a news article from the Google News app.
Home. Recent apps.
I actually already have it open.
Application icon. Home.
Let's see
Accessibility. Reading Mode. Google News. Both phones feature an IP68 rating for dust.
So this is just a Google News article. So I'm going to go ahead and do the gesture for it, which is to swipe up with 3 fingers from the very bottom.
Hide Reading Mode. Reading Mode makes long content easier to navigate, read, and listen to.
And now there's a pop-up because this is my first run experience. And I'm going to...
Reading Mode makes long content easier to navigate, read, and listen to. 1 to 0 selected.
And there are 3 tabs.
1 to 1.
So I'm going to go to the second
Tap play
one.
to hear content read aloud. 1 to 0. 1 to 1 selected. 1 to 2.
This is the third one.
Adjust font, color, spacing, audio preferences, and more. Adjust font, color, spacing, audio preferences, and more. 1 to 0. 1 to 1. 1 to 2 selected. Done.
So now I'm going to hit done.
Hide Reading Mode.
So as you can see, it's a pretty basic setup at first. You have your text from the article, and it stripped everything else out. So no images, no ads, There's no links even. The text for the links will be there, but it's just going to be a pure text experience. So obviously this is meant, well, it's meant for a few types of people. If you're blind, obviously you can use it because it reads it out loud, which you're going to see in a minute. But if you're low vision or just have a hard time reading for any reason, this will help you because you can adjust the font size, you can adjust the colors, and as I'll show you in a minute, you can even have it underline what's currently being read, so that could help you if you're trying to learn a language or just have a hard time concentrating. So what we're presented with here is it's going to be, I'm going to use my magnification here. There's a play button at the bottom center, and to the very bottom left there's settings, and to the bottom right this will adjust the font size, I believe. So I'm going to first
Play.
I'm going to adjust the
Text
font
size.
size first. So it says text size over here. I'm going to double tap there.
Decrease text size. Decrease text. Increase text size.
So I'm going to,
Text size increased. Text size increased. Text size increased.
I'm going to see how
Text
big we
size
can get
increased.
this.
Text size increased. Text size increased.
So as
Text size.
you can see, you can really improve the text or increase the text size, and I think I noticed it's kind of hiding
Play.
the controls at the bottom while you're scrolling, but once you stop, they
Text
come back.
size.
So let's see.
Decrease text. Decrease text size. Increase text size.
I'm going to make it larger.
Text size increased. Text size increased. Text size increased.
So obviously you can get this very large if you need it to be. So I'm going to,
Decrease text size. Text
Put it
size
back.
decreased. Text size decreased. Text size decreased. Text size decreased. Text size decreased.
or at least make it a lot smaller than we had it. So, and then just to get out of this pop-up, I'm going to do the back gesture.
Text size.
So that's how to adjust the text size. And like I said, when you scroll, these controls at the bottom kind of get out of your way because they assume you're reading. But when you stop, they come back. And I'm going to go ahead and tap on settings, the bottom left.
Settings. Hide settings.
Now, because we were in, I'm just going to call it reading mode, but because it wasn't playing audio reading it to us, the currently selected tab is going to
Display
be
selected.
display. There's also
Audio.
an audio tab, which we'll check out later, but for now,
Decrease text size.
we're going to look at these. So there's obviously text size
Increase text size.
settings.
Sans serif.
There's the font, you can change that.
Line spacing. Small line spacing checked. Normal line spacing unchecked.
You could change the line
Large line
spacing.
spacing unchecked. Largest line spacing unchecked. Bold text unchecked.
Let's turn on bold text.
Checked.
I'm going to leave the line spacing how it is though.
Color options.
And then for color options, you have different themes. So if you, most low vision prefer white text or light colored text like yellow and black, but everyone's different, so there's a lot of different options here.
System dark checked. System light unchecked. High contrast dark unchecked.
I'm going to do high contrast dark.
Checked.
That usually works the best for me.
Low contrast dark unchecked. Dyslexic friendly unchecked. Low contrast light unchecked.
It's nice that there's dyslexic friendly there. I don't know what that means exactly, but it's a nice
Low
addition.
contrast dark sepia. Use system theme.
So you can choose whether to use the system theme or not.
Matches your device's light or dark theme. Switch off.
Have that
Underline
off.
current text. Show a line to follow along as you read or content is read aloud. Switch off.
So I'm going to turn this on.
On.
And I think that's all there is in the settings as far as the display settings. So I'm going to back out of the settings.
Settings.
So now we're back here and I've made it bold, so I don't notice much of a difference, but I don't have too much vision. So this is just how you would
Text.
use it I'm going to see if pinch to zoom works. I haven't tried
Text
it.
size increased.
Okay.
Maximum text size.
So just figuring this out on the fly here. If you just pinch to zoom, that's a
Text
much
size
easier
decreased.
way
Text size increased.
of adjusting the text to get it
Text size
exactly where you
decreased.
want it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the play button in the bottom middle so we can see what it's like when it
Play.
reads it back to you.
Tap to skip to the next sentence. Touch and hold to skip to the next paragraph.
The first manufacturer to announce new smartphones with Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon 8 General 2 processor, but Xiaomi is
Hide reading mode.
So I went ahead and paused it. As you can see, the first time I hit play, there was a little pop-up that it told us the skip back and skip forward buttons can be used to navigate through sentences if you tap them, or if you tap and hold them to navigate paragraphs. So I'm actually going to demonstrate that.
Tap to skip to the next sentence. Touch.
isn't
guess-
far
Skip forward.
behind with the Xiaomi 13 and 13 Pro.
Pause.
I'm going to
Hide reading mode.
see if I can get rid of that pop-up.
Tap to skip to the next. Tap to skip to the next. Got it.
Okay, there's a got it button to the bottom right of that pop-up. I'm going to hit that.
Pause.
So now I'm going to hit play again.
Play. Pause.
Xiaomi 13 and 13 Pro. Both
And now
Skip forward.
include
going to
Qualcomm's new
skip
flagship
forward a
processor,
sentence.
but only among the more functional differences between the two, the Xiaomi 13 Pro features a total of the main camera
Pause. Skip back.
uses the same the main camera uses the same 1-inch
So that
type
will start
Sony
over your
IMX.
sentence.
The main camera uses the same 1-inch type Sony IMX 900. The main camera uses
Pause. Play.
So as you can see, it will start over the current sentence or paragraph, depending on whether you tap it or tap and hold it, and it will skip to the next sentence or next paragraph, depending on whether you tap or hold the next arrow. Now these arrows only appear while it's being read to you, so if you could see it right now, you'll notice that those controls are no longer there. Another thing that changes is this button down here to the bottom right that's for text size, that becomes a reading speed button, and I'll adjust that to show you how that works. But first I wanted to mention that if you're using Google TTS, and you have already noticed it because I did a little demonstration, but the good thing is that if you're using a screen reader also, and you're navigating around the screen, it will temporarily pause reading mode so you can hear the screen reader, and then when it's done talking, it'll resume the reading of the article. So you don't have your screen reader talking over the article and vice versa. So I think that's a nice touch. Now, if you use any other TTS engine, so like if you use Samsung's text-to-speech engine, it won't behave that same way. You'll have to worry about them talking over each other and adjusting media volume and accessibility volume to what you want it. But I think that's a nice touch that it's integrated with Google's TTS or Speech Services by Google. And it doesn't matter what screen reader you're using, because right now I'm using CSR. So whether you're using CSR or TalkBack, it'll still work the same. Okay, so another thing I noticed that it's kind of hard to go backwards a sentence or a paragraph, because when you double tap it, it'll start over that sentence. And then by the time you double tap it again to go to the previous sentence, it's already read out some of the sentence. So it just keeps starting over the sentence. So that's a little frustrating. So I'm going to show you a workaround for that. Just because there's an actual slider that you can use to scrub through the article. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play again. And then I'm going to go find that slider and show you how to adjust that.
Pause.
Camera uses the same 1
Skip back. Settings. Playback duration, value, 25.
inch type Sony IMX989 sensor found in the
Playback duration, value, 22.
tall
Playback duration, value, 17.
charging.
So as you
Among
can
the
see,
more functional differences between
Playback duration, value, 24.
camera uses
Playback duration, value, 19.
between the two phones are their cameras.
and you can also
Playback duration,
double
value,
tap and hold.
Playback
and I'm just
duration,
gonna bring it
value,
back to the
0.
beginning.
Xiaomi makes the jump to
Skip forward.
Qualcomm's
Pause.
new flagship Snap.
Play.
So now I'm going to show you how to speed up the voice. So I'm going to hit play and go to the right.
Pause.
Skip
forward. Reading speed.
Snapdragon 8 General
Decrease reading speed. Decrease reading speed 1x. Increase reading speed.
2 processor.
Reading speed 1.25x.
Processor.
Reading speed 1.5x.
Processor. Vivo may have been the first manufacturer to announce new smartphones with
Reading speed 1.75x.
Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon 8 General 2 processor, but
Reading speed 2x.
Xiaomi isn't far behind with the Xiaomi 13 and 13 Pro. Both include Qualcomm's new flagship
Reading speed 2.25x.
processor, but only the 13 Pro gets top features like a large 1-inch type camera sensor and support for
Reading speed 2.2. Decrease reading speed.
120W wired charging.
Reading speed 2x. Reading speed 1. Reading speed 1.5x. Reading speed 1.25x. Reading speed. Pause.
Charging.
Play.
So as you can see, I took it all the way up to 2.25 because I wanted to show you that in the same way that the new Google text-to-speech voices revert to their more robotic sounding versions at higher than 2x speed, this will do the same thing. So as you can tell, as I got faster, it stayed the same until I got above 2x. Then it kind of reverted to an older, more robotic sounding voice. But I put mine back down to 1.25 because that's sort of where I prefer to have it. But again, you can adjust it to your liking. You can even go lower than 1x if you need to. So now what I'm going to do is go into the settings for the playback so that we can hear our different voice options that we have. So I'm going to hit play.
Pause.
120.
Skip back. Settings. Playback duration. Value. 16.
120W.
And put this back to the
Playback
beginning.
duration. Value. Settings.
Go into settings.
Hide settings.
I makes the jump.
Audio selected. Reading speed. Decrease reading speed.
So there's reading speed
1.25x.
settings here.
Increase reading speed. Reading voice. English United States 1.
Jump to Qualcomm's new flagship Snapdragon 8 General 2 processor. Vivo may have been the first.
Just going to go through
English United States 2.
some of these.
English United States 2.
Manufacturer to announce new smartphones with Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon 8 General 2 processor, but Xiaomi isn't far.
English United States 3. English United States 3.
Behind with the Xiaomi 13 and 13 Pro. Both include Qualcomm's new flagship processor, but only the 13 Pro.
English United States 4. English United States 4.
Gets top features like a large 1-inch type camera sensor and support for 120W wired charging. Among the more functional differences between the two,
English United Kingdom 1. English United Kingdom 1.
Phones are their cameras. The Xiaomi 13 Pro features a total of 350 megapixel rear cameras. The main camera uses the same 1-inch type Sony.
English United States. English United Kingdom 2. English United Kingdom 2.
Sony IMX989 sensor found in the Xiaomi 12S Ultra, and it's joined by a 50 megapixel telephoto and a 50 megapixel ultra-wide with support for macro photographs taken from as little as 5 centimeters away. Meanwhile, the Xiaomi
English United Kingdom 2 selected. English Australia 1 English Australia 1.
13 uses a smaller 1/1.49-inch 50 megapixel sensor for its main camera, with a 12 megapixel.
English Australia 2 selected. English Nigeria selected. English Australia 2. English Australia 2.
Megapixel ultra-wide and 10 megapixel telephoto. Screens also differ. On the Xiaomi
English Nigeria selected. English Nigeria.
13 Pro has a 6.73-inch 1440p display that curves round the sides of the device, while the Xiaomi 13 is small.
English United States 2 select, English United States 1, English United States 1.
Smaller at 6.36 inches, flat, and has a 1080p resolution. Both offer refresh rates of up to 120 Hz, with up to 1900 nits of peak brightness.
Settings.
Brightness.
Pause. Play.
So as you can see, that was a demonstration of all the different voices that you have access to at this point. Obviously that could change over time, but that's what's available right now. And I think a lot of them sound pretty good. So you do have some options there. So I think I've demonstrated pretty much how to use the app, and I just want to point out that because this is an accessibility service, you can use it in any app. You can try it in any app. Sometimes it'll fail, sometimes it won't, but you can at least give it a shot, because previously some browsers have had something similar to this, but you've never really been able to have an accessibility service that I know of actually scroll through the app and capture all the text for you and then present it in a easy to read manner. So that's what's great about this app. So just want to point out, if you have a lot of apps you use, like I'm in the Google News app now, but if you have a different news app, it's worth a shot. It will probably work. It won't work in every app, but it does work a lot of the time. And sometimes you'll get a pop-up asking you, it'll say, reading mode is not intended for this specific type of app. How did it work for you? And you can answer and let them know whether or not it worked for you. So this has been a demonstration of the Reading Mode app. Thank you for listening.